Hello, my name is Luswan He, and this is my name sign. Today we're interviewing Isabel Laínez, and this is her sign name. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. We're here to learn more about you. Can you tell us more about who you are? Hello, thank you for having me here. My name is Isabel, and this is my sign name. I am an artist and graphic designer. I identify as a Latina woman. The goal of my art is to spread inspiration, as you can see in my background here. My graphic design work focuses on creating logos, layouts, icons, animation, and GIFs. That's what I do. Also, as a hobby, I like to paint and draw. I have side business as well. So you mentioned that you're an artist and graphic designer. How did you arrive here? Sure, I'll explain. I was born with the gift of an artist. When I was a small child, I started with drawing using a notebook that I took from my grandmother. She drew clothes in that notebook because she's a seamstress. I started to draw, and I kept doing it because I come from a hearing family, so I communicated with them by drawing. They understood what I was saying through my drawings. That's how I started being an artist. I played around with crafts and painting. I'd do anything artistic just because. When I started school, I really loved being in art classes. I had to be perfect because I'm an artist. I've never thought about doing anything else other than being an artist. Art is always on my mind. When I started high school, I didn't think about graphic design, as it was something that came up later on. But I thought about becoming an art teacher because I looked up to my art teacher. I just wanted to be like her. I thought teaching was cool and that it was a deaf-friendly job, and I was drawn to it. My teacher encouraged me to take up graphic design. I studied both art and graphic design at the same time because I have the skill and both streams really apply to each other. At one point, my teacher recommended that I enter a national competition for high school students with other hearing students. It was the first time I took an opportunity like that, and I went to the competition. I saw so much graphic design work. At that time, I was fairly new to graphic design and wasn't used to the techniques. I also preferred to create and try new things on my own on Photoshop and play with colors, like colorful hands and drawing hands too. Yes, more so Photoshop on my computer. I would design random things that came up in my mind. When I started doing that, I didn't feel a spark, but once I applied to the competition again, things changed. I saw how other artists created their work in the first competition, and I was impressed. Wow, I wanted to be like them, so I tried again. I didn't have high hopes because it felt like hearing people would always win, the deaf people would never win. I had that belief, and I was wrong. I got second place. I didn't expect that. Congratulations. Thank you. So that was how I started realizing my skill and decided to immerse myself into the medium. Also, I went to George Brown College for an additional credit in 2D art, and it fed into my desire for art. I realized that nowadays we see art more and more represented digitally and less so in traditional mediums, almost as if we're possibly losing those traditional mediums. So it's nice for me to have the digital on top of the traditional training. The idea of becoming a teacher up in the air, but who knows? Maybe one day. You're still on a journey, But right now, yes, I'd rather explore, move around to different things until you get caught up on new things. Right, until I decide to retire from it, I can become a teacher and teach my experience. If I started teaching now, what am I applying to art education without any experience? Because right now, many people are asking me to draw them something, and that has led me to start up a business, Isabel. The reason why I chose this name was because of my first and last name and my favorite letter, Z, combined. S and Z look very similar. Many people have asked me to show my art. I still love learning new things, and moving on to the next is a good way to build experience. It is also a good way to get connected with the deaf art community. So that's how I fell in love with art. It is my heart and soul as an artist that has been born with this gift. It is also thanks to my family who has seen that art was also a way to communicate. It's really nice. So in your past journey trying various methods of art, have you found your own style? I have a style. It is modern with leaves in the background to show my pride in being Latina. I've seen a lot of Mexican art, but I don't identify as Mexican. There's too much artwork out there that feels like it's part of another country. My background is from El Salvador in Central America. Is there a sign name for El Salvador? Yes, this is the sign name for it. That's where I was born and raised until I moved to Canada at age 10. I didn't have an identity. I noticed that in hearing Latino communities, they have the exposure to their culture at a young age. There was none in deaf communities. People would assume my identity and assign me as Mexican, when I definitely wasn't. That was what made me realize that being Latina represents the variety in our pride and emphasizes it. It emphasizes it. Plus, the possibilities on how to incorporate ASL into art is endless. It is different, and I wanted to combine that into my work, so that is where my passion is right now. That's amazing. So your identity is important for that too, right? Yes, honestly. I would admit that growing up, I didn't identify myself as Latina. El Salvador has always been taught as a place that is dangerous, that you have to be careful. Now I realize that it really does not matter. If you go out and travel, it's important to keep an open mind and engage with different cultures. Right, yes. Now I'm learning. I love pupusas, a food that is well known in El Salvador. It's like corn mixed with flour along with beans and other meats. I love it so much. Unfortunately, it's hard to find here. You'd have to make it at home. Yeah, right. Yeah, sometimes, but it's a lot of work. So it's important for your art to keep that part of your heritage going and not lose it, right? Yes. You recently mentioned that you own a business called Girl in Creativity. How is that going? Yes, it's good. My art business that's called Isalex is mine alone. My second business, Girl in Creativity, started in 2020 in the midst of COVID. My partner, Casimira, this is their sign name, wanted to create this business to empower women. Many women out there have struggles and a lack of positive inspiration, so we created this business. So far, it's been successful because of the shirts we sell. They have inspirational messages about female empowerment, body positivity, mental health, and more. It can also include men in some areas. I think since we founded this business, it's been going well over the past year. A lot of people have been thrilled because it had been our goal to bring accessibility to both deaf and hearing people with ASL and text mixed together in artworks. It brings exposure to mental health, to people who struggle, to people with families who don't include them, single mothers, those who are mothers, as well as many others. I am happy that it's been successful for the past year. So you've been in business successfully for 1 year? Yes, 1 year. That's good. I hope your business continues to spread positivity to those who need it, especially during COVID where a lot of people have struggled. People need to hear positive things more than negative things. Yes, right now, I feel it's very important because often we see thin bodies in advertisements. I mean, not always. There's reasons behind it. Sometimes it happens naturally. Some people don't like the word chubby. Some people don't like being called fat, obese. People feel the need to be careful with choosing words like that because it is a sensitive thing to talk about for women. Education, education, education. Right, it's important and it's good. We also still have to teach. We include quotes that inspire and are what people want to wear on a daily basis. We want people to think about what it means to them and what makes them feel good. That there is nothing wrong with being themselves. Our goal is not to judge. And we see that people feel good and positive about themselves. People also learn ASL that way too when they see my artwork, and that benefits the deaf community. Yes, that's good. Yes. How did COVID impact you as an artist? Good question. In truth, I feel I was already prepared because growing up, I would stay at home after school and during summer breaks while everyone went out camping. I became used to being alone. Not isolated, but alone. I like being independent and learning on my own. Once COVID happened, I was not concerned because I was working from home and I was used to it. So there was no difference then. Yes, right. What is your future goal as an artist? My goal is still undecided. Right now I feel curious and I want to explore everything that's out there. I don't feel attached to a singular goal. I like being able to modify my goals because right now I'm doing everything from A to Z. I haven't decided on a singular path, and I need to find that. I just want to see how things go. You're on a journey to continuously learn new things until you find your path. Yes, that. What advice do you want to give other deaf artists? Yes, I would love to tell them to roll with your passions and to go with it. Do not doubt or question yourself. Go ahead and try it. It wouldn't hurt you to try. You're not going to get stuck with it. If you try out photography and decide you don't like it, that's fine. You can move forward and try a combination of other things. Just go for your passion. Chase your golden door. To me, what that means is that the door of opportunity is open. It's open, and if you want to get there, you have to keep chasing the opportunities until in the end, you see what you've achieved. Then you will get into the golden, shiny door. And a lot of us hold ourselves back thinking of the consequences and the what ifs, forgetting to enjoy the process of life. You never know where the process will take you, and in the end, it could be entirely different than you would have thought it'd be. Wouldn't hurt. Really, it doesn't matter. There's so many of you who can achieve this. Don't believe in the what ifs. If you believe in the what ifs, how are you going to know what will actually happen? It's better to do it, learn from there, and try things. It can be plates, it can be hair braiding, it can be painting nails. You won't know the hidden skill you have until you do it. And make it fun. It's fun. It could be fun. It could also lead to something bigger. Into my own style, yes. Right, who knows? True. What brings you joy in art or other things? For the most part, art. I enjoy it. All the stress I have is relieved when I create. I feel better when I express all the ideas I have. For example, in my background, there's a piece of art of a Latina woman signing with a plant behind her because plants feel so natural and original, and to have that growing outwards in the background gives me the imagination of what joy means to me. I draw every day. Art does not bring me negativity. Sometimes if my head feels empty, I don't create because if there's nothing there, then there's nothing there. I find other things to do instead. Also, in enjoying my art, it keeps me busy. So when you're in a positive mood, you'll create and express that in your art. What about when you're in a negative mood, do you express yourself too? I don't do it. No, I don't do it. I look through my art, but other than that, no. You prefer expressing yourself positively only. Right, yes. If I expressed myself negatively, I'd feel empty and unsure. My art would possibly not look as beautiful. It'd be too dark. I'd prefer not to. You prefer to focus on the positivity and the brightness of it, not the darkness of negativity and feel dragged down, influencing your mental health. Right, yes. I understand. Do you have any thoughts you want to share with the hearing world? I hope that the hearing world continues to be curious about the deaf world and deaf artists. Be inspired. Be curious. Be interested in the why. Why are there some signs like that? For example, one of my art has the sign for Latina. I want them to question why this sign is like that, because the sign is a general sign. It does not specify where they're from. You don't have to specify your identity. I hope that makes them curious to learn more about the diversity in our signs, interests, or passions, and learn from us. And from what you've said, being curious sounds better than being judgmental. Right. Being curious opens your world to interesting things. The hearing world already has the focus on them, and they're missing the deaf world. Again, maybe their family failed to expose them, or maybe they're still looking for their identity among other various reasons. How is that possible? How do we connect those two? Other than those who major in interpreting, or for some other reason they know ASL, there's really no excuse for the gap between the worlds. I think it's best to merge these two worlds, and I hope one day it is possible. Unite, yeah, and build better, healthy relationships. This is important. Yes, absolutely. We need a world like that. Yes. So to continue from what you said, have you considered what you wanted to share with the deaf community to connect them with the hearing world? Really, it depends. You can't force it to happen because it depends on the scenario. If it's about interpretation or having access, then that is something entirely different. I think it's better to figure out how to merge two worlds into one and not keep them separate. We're humans. There's nothing different with us. We're deaf and we function in the world through that lens, and hearing people function in the world through speech. That's all. I think it's important to respect that too. It's better to continue advocating and educating than to start a huge debacle. Yes, to educate, you have to have time to clarify information. We can make vlogs about it to inform the general public and share tips instead of targeting a specific person. Thank you, Isabel, for interviewing with Deaf What Legacy Project. We want to recognize the Canada Council of the Arts for funding our project. Thank you. No problem. Thank you for having me. Yes.